been a long time since that song has been sung. Dr. Joe would sing it. Hey, Dr. Joe would sing it every now and then. And when I was thinking about my talk, we usually ask the singers to pick our songs based on our theme. And when I was in bed at night, which is when I usually start thinking of things for my talks, I thought, my declaration, we have to do my declaration. Because it really is a song about freedom, right? Freedom of the soul. Stop hiding ourselves. Stop masking that beautiful energy, that unique spirit that we all are. Stop hiding it and let it out to play. My first slide is a quote from Ernest Holmes, and it is one of my favorite quotes. I probably have it in way too many of my talks, but it's so meaningful. He says, "The divine plan is one of freedom. Bondage is not God ordained. Freedom is the birthright of every living soul. All instinctively feel this." And I believe that quote with every cell and fiber of my being, because I know inside of each one of us is a yearning for freedom, right? We don't want to be held back. We don't want to be constrained by anything or anyone. We want to be free, just like our founding fathers did. They wanted to be free. And you know, everything is interrelated. And I'm going to talk about that, how what our founding fathers did, what they were inspired to do, on an individual level, we do the same thing. We need freedom when we're not in a state where we're feeling completely open and able to be who we are. My next slide is this. The American spirit. You know, I have to be honest with you. I had some mixed feelings about talking about America and who we are, because there's a lot of duality going on about America. There are people that are angry with America, who are disappointed in America, yet there are others who are really proud. And I have to tell you, I'm really proud, because I think the essence of the American spirit is something that is very, very wonderful and very innate to who we are. It's what Ernest Holmes says, that freedom, that yearning for freedom. It's just that we've gotten kind of lost on the way. We've kind of got stuck in our opinions of each other and the ways we think things are right or wrong. When if you throw all that away, what is beneath it all is oneness. Oneness. We are all beings. We are all human. We are all here really just wanting to be free. That's really it. We've just kind of tripped up and lost our way in that. But I love the idea of America. I really do. I love that it's a place where we yearn to allow others to come here who are oppressed, who are in tyranny. We invite people here to be able to start a life where they are free. And we're not going to get political. I'm not going there. Let's just go to the essence, the spiritual essence of America today. My next slide is this. So Amanda Gorman was the beautiful young poet who was the poet at President Biden's inauguration. And, you know, she talks about her, it's a beautiful poem, oh my gosh. But, you know, there's so much that we're dragging in from the past of America, right? And I acknowledge there's been atrocities. I acknowledge that we've done wrong by people, injustices. Sure, God, I see it all. I'm there with you. You know, we lost our way. We didn't hold that ideal of justice for all. But we can't keep looking back. We can't keep dragging the corpses of the past transgressions that America has experienced. It's time to brush ourselves off and see the vision. See the vision for our country and for ourselves. And she says this beautifully. We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be. A country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. And I believe that's at the core of America, and that's at the core of all of us. Because we've had our lives, we've had our situations, so to speak. We've had our experiences that have broken our hearts apart, that have saddened us. Yet, regardless of all of that, there's a yearning, there's a spirit that wants to come out and live life and let the past go and find that place of inspiration, of excitement, to continue to free ourselves. Because you know what? We're always growing and we're always expanding. That cannot be stopped. And when we allow that expansion to happen and free ourselves, we become different people. We allow some new aspect of life that we never thought we could do or was ever on our radar. And we say, wow, that looks fun. I am expanding. I am growing. Let's bring that up. Even though I've had hardship in my life, it doesn't matter. Today is a new day. I walk forward. I walk proud and free. I walk knowing that anything is possible. And that is the American dream. Anything is possible. Anything. My next slide. So we're going to have a little history lesson today, everybody. Woo! Oh, yeah, I know. I was like, God, Dale, really? Yes, really. The teacher in me has to do this. But, when I was making my talk, I thought, I'm going to look at the preamble of the the Declaration of Independence. I want to read it again and see what I see and bring it in to the sacred sanctuary and find a metaphysical nugget for everybody to chew on, because there's something there, right? So bear with me. So here we go. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America, when in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitles them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. Now I'm thinking, wow, this is pretty much saying, we are gracious people and we find it necessary to separate from this government that is oppressing us and not allowing us to express our divine nature, and we're going to tell you the reasons why. Now I'm thinking that is really gracious, because if you're a bunch of people that are fed up, feeling oppressed, you're just going to say, screw you, we're leaving, bye-bye, right? That's what you're going to say. Oh, no, here are the causes of why we are leaving this country. And so we have the next part of the preamble. This is the last one. I'm not going to kill you with this. So we hold these truths to be self-evident, right? It is evident that these are our innate natural truths, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So what they're saying is, this ain't happening for them in their other government. So these are natural rights that they want to say, you aren't honoring these rights for us. This is the cause of our separation. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation and such principles, and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Doesn't that sound yummy and great if you can chop through all of the languaging? It's really just saying it's our divine right, our natural right to live life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. How cool is that? That was their cause. That's the cause for their separation. That's a lovely cause. It's a huge God cause. It's a cause of high inspiration and high value. Couldn't ask for anything better. This is what we're born from. This is what this country is all about. Isn't that great? Yes. So my next slide is this. The law of cause and effect. Wow, how did I jump from there to there? Because Science of Mind is all about cause, and I want to talk about cause. We see the causes that prompted our founding fathers to create this new country, to separate from that which was oppressing them and create this new country. There was a cause, they took power, and they created something wonderful for all of us. So we teach in this philosophy the law of cause and effect. We do not teach in randomness or that there are accidents, that things just happen. There is a cause for everything, everything. And what we like to focus on in our teaching, in our healing, is that we cause our own life experience by virtue of our thinking, of our belief systems. So if I have a thinking system where everything is negative, that's my cause. My cause is everything is negative. And so my life is going to be pretty negative because that's what's I am causing this reality based on my thoughts. And we use cause in interesting ways. I'm first going to read Ernest Holmes' description of cause and spirit. He says true thought deals directly with first cause, which is spirit. This is the big cause. This is the cause that's pure, that isn't sullied by our primitive thinking, our constrictive thinking, our survival thinking. No. First cause is about that pure essence of God. That's first cause. So you can imagine if you're creating from that cause, from that pure, pristine love place, good things are going to happen. So he says the science is the study of first cause, spirit, or the truth. That invisible essence, that ultimate stuff and intelligence from which everything comes, the power back of creation. The thing itself, and he calls the thing itself, that's his way of calling God, God. And he uses that word because he wants to take all of the religious connotations around God out of it, so he just calls it the thing itself. But this is what life is all about, cause and effect. We cause things to happen in our lives, and we're all doing that, all of us. And our country did that as well. The founding fathers caused something by their vision. And so my next slide is this. What is your cause? And I know this is kind of a trick question, because I think some people might be saying, well, my cause is to help the sea get healed, or my cause is to help the homeless. But I want you to ask yourself, what am I causing in my life? And where is it coming from? Because I see cause as coming from two possibilities. There could be more, but for simplicity's sake, let's say there's two cause. Lower cause and higher cause, right? Lower cause is coming from a place of being reactive to this life experience. Example. So let's say somebody harms me. And I'm going to have a reaction. And my reaction is going to cause something. Somebody's energy to me caused me to feel bad. Now, I have a choice to make. Is my cause going to come from that same energy of revenge? I need to hurt you because you hurt me? Or am I going to go high? Am I going to go high and say, this person hurt me? Where's my cause going to come from? I'm going to come from love and forgiveness. I'm going to a higher cause. And if I go to a higher cause, there's going to be a whole lot of healing. Because when we're all stuck in this lower cause, and we call it secondary causation, just to give you some science in my terminology, we call it secondary causation because we are creating from the world of effects, the world of hurt, the world of physical existence, rather than something more ethereal, invisible. And so for us to say, what's my cause? Where am I going to draw my cause in certain situations in life? To take that moment instead of reacting and say, you know what? It would be better if I went high. It would be much better if I go to spirit, if I go to forgiveness, if I go to love. Oh, I know you're going, sure, I bet you do that all the time. And the answer is no, I don't do it all the time. I aspire to, but sometimes that lower stuff grabs us and we lose our awareness and we just go with the heat of the moment. And that's why it's so important for us to be mindful and press the pause button when life happens and we want to just jump, right? We want to think about causation because that's where everything begins, in causation. My next slide is this. So this is actually my talk title, Rebel with a Cause. And I chose that picture. It was really kind of not sure what to put, but this to me represents the energy of the rebel. Because to be a rebel, you are powering through something that's pretty fortified and destroying it or dismantling it. And that's the nature of the rebel. So to be a rebel with a cause, I'm saying let's be rebels, just like our founding fathers. They went high. I mean, yeah, there was lots of fighting and stuff, but they went high. They chose to write this beautiful Declaration of Independence that said this isn't working for us, and it's because it is not allowing us to be free in our natural rights as human beings. And so to take that rebel energy and go with a high cause is a very powerful way to live our lives. So I want to talk a little bit about the rebel. If you could give me my next slide. So the rebel, these are some of my favorite rebels. I love rebels, I always have, but these are love these people. So Oprah Winfrey, what a rebel. She just stood in her truth and her feminine power and created this whole amazing way of bringing new thought and spirituality and really justice from this whole new perspective that wasn't yet in our world. And she did a lot for our spiritual movement that isn't dogmatic. And she, to me, is a rebel because she didn't let people get her down. And now look at her. And Bono from U2, well, I just love him. Yeah, right? He is so cool. I mean, he does not care an iota of what you think about him. He's there to sing about injustice. He's there to help people who are downtrodden. And he's just an amazing singer and songwriter, and he brings this amazing rebel energy to us to tell us that we too don't have to be oppressed. We too can stand up and sing our song and be our power. And then this is Emerson, Ralph Waldo Emerson. And he is one of the major transcendentalists and a very inspiring writer for Ernest Holmes. And he taught to be a rebel of your spirit, to be able to be your own as intermediary with spirit, that you don't need anybody else, that you are powerful in and of yourself, that man can be self-reliant because he's got everything inside of himself, and to be who he is. Without apology, be who you are. These are my rebels, and many more. And the rebel is an interesting thing. It is an archetype. And someone named Carolyn Myss, who some of you might know, she's all about archetypes. She has a whole course about it. And our women's group, by the way, is going to have somebody talking about that this month. But she says that the rebel is a really very much important part of being who we are. It's vitally important for us to be able to grow and expand ourselves, so we must have rebel energy inside of ourselves. So I'm going to tell you a little personal story about rebels and me. So I grew up in a household with a sister and two parents, and if you might know about family dynamics, each kid plays a different role usually. Well, my sister took that rebel role right from the get-go. She was her own person. She wasn't going to listen to anybody. She knew who she was, and she was just it. And she was 5 years older than me. And so as I'm coming up and growing up, and I'm seeing how that role really didn't go well in our family at all. She was always in trouble. She was just always in trouble and arguing with my parents. And when I saw that, I was like, I said, I am not going to be a rebel. I really smited my rebel energy because I saw it as being something very destructive and not in my best interest to be able to be in this family and be a rebel. So she took the role, and that was fine. But as I started to grow and I was a young adult, that rebel woke up inside of me and said, it is time to get your rebel on. And I will tell you this, my early rebel years, just going to say it, holy confession, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, that was my rebel. I got to tell you, I got to be honest, that's how I rebelled. But my rebellion, we're talking about cause, right? So my rebellion was coming from a really low cause because anything that was anti my parents, that's how I rebelled. Everything. I grew my hair long. I was kind of a hippie. I was mean to them. I was just horrible, really, I must say, to them. Because that's where my rebellion lied. That's where my energy was. It was in a really low place. But as I grew up and I stopped needing to be rebellious against them and their ways, that rebellion energy still stayed with me because I realized it had a purpose in my life, and it was a good purpose because it allowed me to grow. My next slide, please. Carolyn Myss says this about the rebel. We need the rebel to discover our own territory and question the rules that were governing us. And that's why I kept this rebel energy inside of me alive. Because as I grew and expanded, I realized that the rebellion that I needed next, that was not my parents, was my consciousness, was my belief system. Because I had a lot of restraints going on inside of my head. I didn't think I was worthy and deserving of a good life. I had lack consciousness. I thought I was limited. I thought there was no way I could build an expansive life. I thought there was no way I could be me. No way I could be the real me. But that rebel energy broke that open for me. And it said, you can be anything you want to be. Let's tear down the old psychic structures that are not supporting me anymore. And I still continue to do that because I will tell you, rebellion isn't a one-time deal. It's a continual activity. And that rebel energy must be kept alive because we find ourselves in situations that aren't right, where we're feeling constricted. We got to let that rebel out, and use it from a high cause. Use the high cause of creating whatever reality is calling you to enter into. That's the way to use our rebel energy in a high way, because we do need it. And as we grow and we expand and the healings take place, there's more healing that wants to come up. And that rebel allows us to really see where we're continuing to restrict, so we can have more expansion, more freedom, because we deserve to have it all, because we are people, we are beings who know that freedom is so valuable. It is who we are, and it allows us to create a life that is beyond bounds. And my next slide is this. So freedom lies in being bold. It really does. It is not easy being a rebel. Freedom is not easy if you are oppressed and in tyranny. But the first call to being bold is looking at yourself. Be bold. Look at yourself. Where are you holding back? What old thoughts are tyranny to you? Where do you need to tear it down? Do you still believe that you can't make enough money? Do you still believe you can't be healthy? I disagree with you. Be bold. Be free. Find what needs to be dissolved inside of you so you can rise up and be free, as our founding fathers did. It takes courage. It takes guts. I'm telling you, feel the fear and do it anyways. I have done that many times in my life. One example not too long ago where I had to really stand up in courage, and it's always worth it, I'll tell you. It is always worth it. You just got to get through that part that says, I don't know if I can do this. This is messy. It doesn't matter. You are meant to be a rebel because you are meant to expand and grow. And if you don't let that rebel guide you with high cause, you're going to stay stagnant and limited in your life. My next slide is this. So John Lennon said this, the tame birds sing of freedom, wild birds fly. We got to get wild. We got to get wild here, people. Don't you love wild? Don't you like letting yourself be wild? I mean, within legal, keep it legal. Don't hurt anybody. But we really have a wildness to us that we tend to smite and cover up because we want to fit in and we want to get along with everybody and we want to just keep it cool, right? But I challenge all of you to find your wildness. Find that wildness, that rebel that wants to do something a little differently, that sees there might be a better possibility of expressing yourself that you've never considered before, that is allowing you to bring more of you to the table, more of you to this world. More of you is valuable. You are all valuable. You and me need to be free in our lives and our expression of beingness. So I think this is my last slide now. Happy 4th of July. Happy 4th of July. I love the 4th of July, I really do. But I want to ask you, what are you ready to declare? What are you ready to declare? What are you ready to be independent of, to let go of? Ask yourself that this week. When you're enjoying your hot dogs and your lemonade, take a moment and say, what am I ready to declare? That song that Alicia sang was so beautiful. Wanting to bring ourselves back. We got to bring ourselves back because there's a part of us that does get kind of contained and pushed down. And as that song said, I can't hide. So what inside of you wants to be free? What inside of you wants to celebrate? Something to be independent from, whether it's a thought pattern, whether it's something that's in the tangible world. What are you ready to let go of that's going to free you? Because now's the time. It's the 4th of July. Let's do it together. And I want to say thank you.